The time is 1:15. Here is the news edited by Ramesh Peris, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. An extraordinary Gazette notification issued declaring several sectors as essential services. All schools across the island to be closed till July 8th. Dedicated filling stations to issue fuel for state and private sector delivery trucks transporting goods to economic centers. Campaigns to get weekly guaranteed fuel quota if paying in US dollars. 3-hour power cuts announced for the 4th and 5th of July. The one-day passport service to commence in 3 districts. International news: Russia claims full control of Luhansk region. Sports news: tennis. Nick Kyrgios and Stefanos Tsitsipas both fined over conduct. Local news in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has issued an extraordinary Gazette notification declaring several industries essential services. The Gazette was issued under powers vested in the President in terms of Sections 2 of the Essential Public Services Act No. 61 of 1979. The Gazette states that all services connected to the supply of electricity and the supply of or distribution of petroleum products and fuel as essential services. The Gazette also states that all services, work or labor of any description whatsoever necessary or equipped to be done in connection with the maintenance and the reception, care, feeding and treatment of patients in the hospitals, nursing homes, dispensaries and other similar institutions as essential services. All government and government-approved private schools across the island will be closed from the 4th to the 8th of July. The decision was reached following a discussion held today with officials of the Ministry of Education, provincial councils, secretaries and directories via Zoom. The Ministry of Education said various factors including the participation of the principals, teachers and students over the past 2 weeks and developments pertaining to the distribution of fuel by the Ministry of Energy were discussed. Accordingly, a decision was reached to declare next week a holiday for all government and government-approved private schools across the island. The Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security announced that dedicated filling stations will be named to issue fuel for state sector and private sector delivery trucks that transport goods to and from the economic centers. Accordingly, a list of filling stations operated by the 3 armed forces will be announced to cater to the 11 dedicated economic centers across the country. Accordingly, the Ratmalana Economic Center will be issued fuel from the Ratmalana Air Force Camp and the Meegoda Economic Center from the Mattegoda Army Camp. The Narayanpeta Economic Center will be provided fuel from Ratmalana Air Force Base and Mattegoda Engineering Corps Headquarters. Dambulla Economic Center will be provided fuel from the Sri Lanka Army 53rd Division Headquarters Complex in Inamalua. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka has approved 3-hour power cuts for the 4th and 5th of July. Accordingly, areas A to L and P to W will experience a 1 hour and 40 minutes power disruption during the day and a 1 hour and 20 minutes power cut during the night. Furthermore, areas C will experience a 2-hour power disruption between 6 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Areas M, N, O, X, Y, Z will experience power disruptions of 3 hours from 5:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. The Parliament is scheduled to convene at 10 a.m. this morning. Parliamentary sessions will be limited to just 3 days a week. It was decided to the Committee on Parliamentary Business held last week under the chairpersonship of Speaker of Parliament Mahinda Abeyewardene that Parliament would meet on the 4th and 5th and 6th of July this week. Accordingly, from 10 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. today, the entire time is allotted for 50 questions for oral answers that could not be taken up in Parliament previously. The Parliament is scheduled to convene on the 5th of July at 10 a.m. Time has been allotted on July 6th to take up Prime Minister's questions. The adjournment motion brought by the opposition will be debated until 4:30 p.m. on the prevailing situation in the country. Dr. Nandanal Veerasinghe has been reappointed as the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka for the next 6 years with effect from today. Dr. Veerasinghe is a career central banker with extensive experience in monetary and exchange rate policy. Dr. Veerasinghe was promoted as Deputy Governor on 27 September 2011 while he was serving as an alternate Executive Director at the International Monetary Fund and assumed office as Deputy Governor of the CBSL on 1 September 2012. Dr. Veerasinghe holds a PhD and Master's degree in Economics from the Australian National University and a BSc degree from the University of Kelaniya in Sri Lanka. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatma.
The Department of Immigration and Immigration informs that the issuance of passports under the one-day service will commence in 3 additional districts from today. Accordingly, the one-day service will get underway in the regional office of the Vavuniya, Mathura and Kandy districts. Appointments can be obtained by visiting the official website of the Department of Immigration and Immigration in order to submit applications. Therefore, the applicants who wish to travel overseas for employment are encouraged to direct a WhatsApp message via 07063111711 to book a date and time. That WhatsApp number once again 07063111711. That ends main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhaloka Vedamahatma.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs stated that the Consular Affairs Division of the Ministry will be opened on all 5 days of the week from today. In view of the ongoing fuel crisis, steps were taken earlier to limit the consular service of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to 3 days. However, the minister stated that taking into consideration the existing demand for consular service, they have taken steps to operate services as usual. Consular service are also operating as usual in offices located in Jaffna, Kandy, Mathura, Trincomalee and Kurunegala. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, headlines first. Russia claims full control of Luhansk region. Gunman kills 3, wounds many at Copenhagen Mall. Thousands told to evacuate Sydney as heavy rains bring life-threatening emergency. World news in detail. The Russian Defense Ministry says its forces are in full control of Luhansk. It is one of Ukraine's 2 neighboring eastern region Russian forces have been trying to seize. The minister said in a statement on Sunday that Minister Sergei Shoigu told President Vladimir Putin that their forces had taken full control of Luhansk. The ministry had earlier claimed the capture of Lysychansk, a city seen as Ukraine's last stronghold in the region. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced on social media on Sunday that it decided to withdraw its soldiers from Lysychansk to save their lives. Copenhagen police said at least 3 people have been killed and several more wounded in a shooting at Fields, one of the biggest shopping malls in Scandinavia, located on the outskirts of the Danish capital. Copenhagen police confirmed that a 22-year-old Danish man was arrested over Sunday shooting and charged with manslaughter. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said in a statement late on Sunday, "Our beautiful and usually so safe capital was changed in a split second and wanted to encourage the Danish to stand together and support each other in this difficult time." Fresh evacuation orders were issued for thousands of Sydney residents on Monday after relentless rains flooded several suburbs in Australia's largest city, with officials warning of more wild weather over the next 12 hours. An intense low-pressure system off Australia's east coast is forecast to bring more heavy rain through Mondays across the southern region of the New South Wales, even as several places in the state were hit with about a month's rain over the weekend. The Bureau of Meteorology said about 100 millimeters of rain could fall in next 24 hours over a wide swath of regions in New South Wales. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Russia claims full control of Luhansk region. Gunman kills 3 wounds many at Copenhagen Mall. Thousands told to evacuate Sydney as heavy rains bring life-threatening emergency. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. Minister of Agriculture, Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation Mahinda Amaravira has instructed the Department of Agriculture to buy seed paddy grown in Yala season at 150 rupees per kilogram. The minister said the current price set by the Department of Agriculture for a kilo of seed paddy is 140 rupees. But it is not a fair price from the farmer's side, so that arrangements should be made to buy seed paddy at 150 rupees per kilo. The minister further instructed officials to prepare a cabinet paper in order to get the approval of the cabinet for the increased price. That ends development news.
Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Tennis news. Nick Kyrgios and Stefanos Tsitsipas have both been fined for their conduct during their fiery Wimbledon encounter. Kyrgios must pay $4,000 for an audible obscenity, while Tsitsipas was given a $10,000 fine for unsportsmanlike conduct. Tsitsipas received 2 warnings from the hitting a ball into the court one crowd during his third-round defeat. Kyrgios appealed incessantly to umpire Damian Domesios for Greek player to be defaulted for his first offence. After Kyrgios won Saturday's stormy encounter, he and Tsitsipas exchanged insults in their post-match news conferences. In other sports news, Formula One, Carlos Sainz scored his first victory in F1 during a dramatic British Grand Prix on Sunday, where Alfa Romeo's Zhou Guanyu survived a huge crash on the first lap. The race had to be restarted after Zhou's car was flipped upside down and crashed into a fence, having been clipped shortly after the start. It caused a lengthy delay, but the driver was eventually declared fit after being assessed at the medical center. That ends sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Board of Investment launched the 5-year residence visa program dedicated to investors, stakeholders and BOI enterprises. Issuing long-term visas for investors has been practiced as per the international standards, on par with matching the international benchmark in respect of ease of doing business. The BOI has decided to launch his program to attract more investors to the country. The long-term visa program, a long-felt need, primarily aims to facilitate the investors who wish to embark on a journey with the BOI. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says any company or industry that can pay in US dollars can open a consumer account at Ceylon Petroleum Corporation to obtain a weekly guaranteed fuel quota. The minister noted that payments must be made a month in advance and fuel will be issued on a daily or weekly basis from the 12th. That ends Economic News.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Moving on to weather report, the Department of Meteorology announced that the prevailing windy condition in the western and southern sea areas and the southern half of the island due to the active southwest monsoon condition is expected today. Showers will occur at times in the Sabaragamulla province and Kandy and Nuwara districts. Several spells of showers will occur in western and northwestern provinces and Galle and Mathura districts. Showers of 100 hours may occur at a few places in the Uva and eastern provinces during the afternoon or night. Strong winds of about 50 to 60 km per hour can be expected at times in the western slopes of Central Hills, western, southern and northwestern provinces. That ends weather report. To wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. An extraordinary gazette notification issued declaring several sectors as essential services. All schools across the island to be closed till July 8th. Dedicated filling stations to issue fuel for state and private sector delivery trucks transporting goods to economic centers. Companies to get a weekly guaranteed fuel quota if paying in US dollars. 3 APA cards announced for the 4th and 5th of July. The one-day passport service to commence in 3 districts. International news, Russia claims full control of Luhansk region. Sports news, tennis, Nick Kyrgios and Stefanos Tsitsipas both fined over conduct. With that, we wrap up the afternoon news on Radio Sri Lanka.